Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. Excited to have everybody along for the ride tonight. Episode number 309 on deck. It's going to be a busy one. Dan Bolton joining us here in studio for this one. We're going to be talking with Tim Clark because in the next 18 days, we're going to be seeing the checklist get smaller and smaller, and the window of opportunity to make those final adjustments continue to close as we creep closer and closer to returning to the Stormont Vale Event Center in Topeka, Kansas for Capital City Carnage. And then Ed Brewster is going to check in from somewheres on the East Coast. I don't know where he's at. He's trying to make his way home from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where JMW Motorsports had another RC Derby event. He had a bunch of individuals approaching him about going to other events as well while he was out there, which was outstanding news for him, front to back. So we'll kind of get a rundown on how everything went there. It was also the rollout of the new stock class. And we'll have to find out a little bit more about that. Ian Doyle from up here made the trip down. Nate White also making the trip down to compete in that. We'll have to check in with him as well to see how everything went with that crew. We've got, as we said, Dan Bolton is here in studio. Dan, welcome up again. Always good to see you. Taking a break from the basketball tonight, huh?
Yeah, we have this week off, a bye week in the old man's league, so
yeah,
I figured I'd come up and hang out with you. It's been a while since we got to see each other, so.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you made the trip up. Tell us a little bit more about what has been going on with everything, front to back. I mean, it's no secret that you guys have been plenty busy.
Yeah, we have.
Extreme Impact. Let's start there. Extreme Impact starting there.
Yeah, about midway through last season, I come to the conclusion that it was going to be my last season on the track. So, I kind of enjoyed the ride last year and ran the truck. And at the end of the season, just decided to sell everything and actually sold the last part to Jeremy Gully yesterday.
Yeah,
sold my slider drive shaft to him. So yeah, we are definitely 100% retired. I have no plans of going back. I don't want to go back. I have 25 years in the sport. I did everything. I did a lot of things I didn't think I'd ever do, and it was a heck of a ride for sure.
Now we joke about being done, not being done, etc. a lot, and it's all intended to be in good fun. But you've done the sellout thing before, and we've heard you say that this is it and we're done and everything before. What's the difference this time?
I got zero interest. I am 100% happy. Before I never sold my equipment. People don't realize that.
Right.
I always held on to my equipment and my parts, because in the back of my mind, I did get burned out just like everyone else, and then you take a little time off and go back. But I'm 40. I just turned 44 last week. It's time, man. It's a long time in the sport, and Brenna's getting older, and like I said, there's nothing more to out there to do or to prove, and I'm totally fine with it. So
right,
I'm gonna build a hot rod now, buddy.
What are you gonna build? Did you pick yet?
I do. We have a 65 Dodge D100 short bed.
Okay.
And we're gonna turn that thing into something awesome.
Nice.
So that is the plan now.
Is your Derby motor going to go in that?
No.
Not gonna.
No. That Derby motor is at the house, but that will never see a hot rod. That's been on the track.
It's been too abused.
So my plan is what I really want to do, and I'm not going to do it unless I get the certain motor, and that's going to be a supercharged Hemi 707 horsepower Hellcat engine.
Okay.
I'm going to drop in that.
Right. That'll be fun. Now, what's Paul Cox think about all this?
I haven't even talked to Paul. I have not talked to Paul in a long time, probably 3 months.
Yeah.
But he's due for a call here shortly.
Yeah, he's going to be calling you now.
I shouldn't say that, actually. I talked to him because I had him looking for a truck for me. I had him and Matt and Derek Shelley. I had a few guys from Utah that I talked to and good friends with, and I had them looking for a truck for me. And nobody could find one. They're hard to find, the short bed.
Tell me more about that hunt then? So this truck came from Utah?
It came from Oregon.
Oh. So stuff doesn't rust in Oregon?
It's got some rust on it. But the truck actually was in Washington. So I found a yard in Oregon, a big Mopar yard, Wildcat Wrecking, I think it's called. And they have hundreds and hundreds of old Mopars up there. And I called them because I saw them on Facebook someplace, and I told them what I was looking for. I said, I'm looking for a 65 D100, late 65, because they changed the front ends on them. And she's like, you know what? I think today's your lucky day. I said, well, really? She's like, we got one in today.
Got it in that day?
Just one short bed, just what I was looking for. I'm like, bam, right there it is.
Right.
So I had, I talked to her a little bit. We went back and forth, and then I decided to buy it. And then I had to get it home.
Right.
So, and then I found a shipper out there that picked it up, and they brought it 2 weeks ago. So it's in the garage.
It's inside now?
Yep.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
Yeah. I knew it was going to need some work, but the bed was all solid. That was key. It needs a couple floor pans. But I'm going to tear it all down, and, I'm going to put an airbag suspension under it so I can raise it up and put it down on the ground. And I always told Brenna she'd have a sweet ride for her prom. So
yeah.
I got 6 years.
What color is it going to be?
Not real sure yet. What do you think?
Purple on top?
I don't know.
White on top, purple on the bottom?
Not sure.
No, not sure yet.
What colors you like? Purple, right? Yeah.
You always pick the colors on the cars, right? On the Derby cars?
She never wanted to do it. She was always around it and whatnot, and it's not something she really wants to carry on.
Pick the colors but not drive.
Yeah, she's just a girly girl, which is
for
fine.
Pete's sake. She plays more sports than you do.
Yeah, she does, and she's a baller, man. I can't wait, man. She works hard. She puts in the time, and good things happen if you work hard.
That is a fact. So I played this game one time we'll start with the Imperial. So I found the 65 Imperial that I wanted in the worst way. I wanted a 65 two-door, and I found it. It was on eBay, and there was pictures of it. This thing was gorgeous. It was blue. It had a blue interior. All the pictures were spot on. And I talked a lot with the guy that owned it, and then I started looking up Dodge dealerships in the area to see if we could get a hold of a mechanic that would go over and double check it, because you can make anything look like anything on the internet.
Right.
Because the 67 New Yorker that I bought out of Newport News, Virginia, or Maryland. That might have been the one that came out of Maryland. The pictures of it were also great, and when I got down there, it looked like it had been painted with nail polish. It was locked in the backyard. The dude that sold it didn't own it, and his girlfriend had taken ownership in the midst of their split, and she wasn't going to let it go after he already had his money. So I learned my lesson: don't buy a car sight unseen. Twice. The car was shipped from Mason City, Iowa, after the guy that I talked to at the dealership said, "Yeah, this car's spot on." He had no idea. He hadn't looked at it. I don't know what it was. I got there, and basically it looked like they took it out of the bottom of a goldfish tank. It was flooded inside. It was a basket case, and I ended up trying to do a motor swap on something. I thought it had a 440 in it. It was an original 413. I wanted an Imperial with a 413, and it didn't go well. So I'm very happy to hear that everything went pretty smooth for you in this endeavor and getting this thing home, and it was what it was supposed to be.
Well, for me, I don't need the motor. I don't need a tranny. I don't need the rear. I don't need a front suspension. I don't need anything. All I need basically is the shell. So as long as the shell is in somewhat decent shape, because they make a bolt-in front and independent front suspension that bolts in.
Right.
So I'm going to put one of them in there, and then they make. I'm going to go with a 4-link rear suspension, and like I said, airbag, so I can set that thing down. Like if I want to take it to a car show or something, I can set it down so like literally it's that far off the ground.
My brother had a C10 that was like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet that was bad, dude.
It was a long bed actually, and he had Frenched the whole thing out, inlaid. I think it was like a '93 Cadillac taillight, the long, tall, skinny ones from the mid '90s. Those were inlaid into the beds, and the tailgate was all molded and everything. And he made his own frame from the cab back, so it arched up, so it would sit right on the ground. It was nice. That's I don't remember where that ended up. He sold that, and it's all been parted out all over the place.
I just feel like I still want to use my talent somehow. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I have the garage, I have all the tools. I won't sell my my equipment as far as that goes. But and she's getting old enough, or it'd be something fun. You invest in it and you'll have it in the family
Right.
for a long time. And
Well, Mark Wolf just shared a post. You know Mark from down in Woodstock? He drives number 52.
I think so. I think I've crossed paths with him a few times.
I know you have. You've been around the same Derby when you went down to Cass in the Valley.
Yes.
You were
yes.
there and he was there. I know
Yeah.
you guys have crossed paths, but I don't know if you ever formally met to know who Mark was. Mark is one of the wildest guys that I've ever met. He was the dude we talk about that had the I think it was the Crown Vic that had the battery box that was made out of the lumber that you use to make like a garden at your house.
Oh.
Just crossed over, pressure treated.
Yes.
I asked him how it was going to stay in there, and he had bolted it through lawnmower blades that were X in the bottom of the floor. And he's such an awesome guy. He shared a post, and there was at least 4 Town and Country wagons that were just like you like. And I was afraid that you would come in the door and say, I saw and bought all these cars.
Man, I hope people don't take it the wrong way, but I pretty much got out of everything Derby related. All the Derby groups, all the stuff that I was in, I left them. I unliked them. It's either all in or all out for me. So that's the way I do it,
So have you gone through and joined a bunch of hot rodder clubs?
Oh, yeah, baby. And I read it, what those guys say, and I have to tread lightly in there, because they don't like Derby guys. You know how that goes.
They're going to misunderstand.
Exactly.
They're going to think that you're...
And I want to, share my knowledge from the last 25 years of building, because I can take a lot of my techniques and use it towards a hot rod build, and I can tell those guys, what works and what doesn't,
Sure.
But I have to tread lightly because I mentioned something about tires, like sizing tires or something. And one guy, he was trolling me. He just jumped right on my crap for no reason. And he's like, well, what do you know about anything? I'm thinking, really? You want to ask me that question?
Right.
So then the administrator, he got rid of it. But you know how they are. They don't like Derby guys at all.
No, not so much.
And I'm not one of them heartless Derby guys. I like cars and I like trucks, and if I find something cool, there's been so many, how many Imperials I've owned I didn't wreck. I sold tons of them.
Right.
And I just like cars just like the next guy, or trucks or whatnot. And I think it'd be really cool to build a hot rod old Dodge.
Are you going to go and see the muscle car heat or the gold iron heat, or are you just not even going to be able to get...
No, not even. I'm just not going to be around it. Period. I don't even want to be around Derby now. It's just I made up my mind. Mm-hmm. It's either I'm all in or I'm all out, and I'm totally out of it. I'm totally out now. First time, and I can honestly say, before when I retired, Brenna was born, so I took a little time off for that, and then I got burned out that one summer. But I've never actually was ready to be done, and it's time. Like I said,
right.
It was a good run.
What's going to happen with the webpage then?
Well, that's the thing. I put a poll up on there the other day just because I wasn't sure. I was racking my brain. I talked to my wife. I'm like, should I keep this thing? I mean, should I get rid of it? We got 11,000 plus followers on that, man.
Right.
That's pretty serious. So, and it was pretty. I don't know what word I'm looking for as far as the reaction. It was all one way. Keep it. Everybody wanted me to keep the page. And I was like. I got some messages from a few different people saying, you showed us how to build Derby cars, now you can show us how to build a hot rod.
Right.
So I guess I decided to keep it. It's just I built it all off of Derby, and so I don't know people, what people like to watch, but I guess people like some sort of motorsports. I guess you'll see it.
Right. Well, you're on something there.
You know what I mean? So.
Yep. I understand what you're saying there. Trying to think of where I wanted to go next with that. In terms of trying to get a vehicle from Washington to here, how challenging is that?
Well,
because you need just the shell, but you're also going to need you need the frame stuff too. So the thing's got to roll, but it doesn't necessarily have to run.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember, I had a 2-door coupe 69 Imperial a few years back that I sold to a guy in Germany. Mm-hmm. Well, that guy was trying to get it shipped over there, and he was on. So what most people do, they go to a broker, and then the broker puts it up on a website, and then a trucking company has to pick it up, and it can take forever, depends on if they want to, what it's cost, whatnot. So right. I went and I found a guy to pick that car up for that guy in Germany from my yard. So I went back to him. I called him up. I'm like, hey, man, I got to get a car from Oregon to my door. I said, "Do you know of a trucking company?" He's like, "I got a guy."
You called the guy in Germany?
No, I called.
Or called the broker?
I called the towing company that I found for the guy in Germany.
Gotcha.
He's out of Walton.
Right.
And he says, "I'll put you in contact with this broker." He gave me the guy's number. He said, "You asked for this guy." He says, "He won't do you wrong." I called the guy up. He says, "Yep, where is it? Give me the address." And like within 4 days, they were picking it up.
Wow.
And it was on its way.
That's
because they say that it's real shady in the trucking business right now as far as like moving vehicles. You got to watch what you do as far as these brokers. You know, they'll take your money and you won't see it for like a month, 2 months.
Really?
It's pretty bad.
Wow.
So I went right back to the guy that I did business with, you know what I mean? And I figured he would know someone because he's trucking all the time of a good broker. So, yeah, it was pretty easy, man. It wasn't easy getting it off, though. It didn't have brakes.
No.
And the guy didn't have a winch on his brand new trailer.
Uh-oh.
This guy had a $66,000 trailer, and he didn't have a winch on it.
Yikes.
So we had to ratchet one side at a time.
Right.
And I had a basketball game, and it took us 2 hours to get it off the trailer. My dad's over there. It's par for the course. Let's put it that way.
Sure sounds like it was a derby type endeavor.
My dad's like, every time you call me to come over here, it's only going to take a couple minutes. It's 2 hours later. So, and that guy, he had to be in Rhode Island the next day, the trucker, because he had a truckload of cars, you know. So,
wow.
So it was, but we got it off. I ended up rolling it off onto the lawn, and I left it there. And then the next morning, I had my dad come back over. We got it situated and got it in the shop. But so it'll sit there till spring now.
Nice. Well, we got to shift gears here for a quick minute, if I can find the phone number that I'm looking for. This isn't going as smooth as I had hoped. I never wrote the phone number down. I got in here and actually I got a doctor's appointment phone call telling me what picture that, we can get rid of it. I got a doctor's appointment coming up on Thursday, and I didn't know where it was, so I just figured I would wait for the phone call to come, and it came in tonight. And I got messing around with that and never followed up any further on the phone numbers because we got Ed Brewster coming up a little bit later on, so we got to make sure that we got his stuff saved and ready. Motorama was awesome this weekend. It was a ton of fun. There we go. We got that all squared away. Capital City Carnage is only 18 days away, if you can believe that. It is just beyond me at this point that thing is coming up so fast. I don't know if I'm entirely ready for it, but it doesn't matter at this point because it's coming whether we like it or not.
Yeah, you know, I never made it out to that, man.
No.
Nope. Always wanted
that event center or something.
I know. Well, it's just, I don't know, it's timing thing usually.
Right.
But
and it's hard to give up the basketball.
What's the one in November?
That's Blizzard Bash.
That's the one that goes.
Yeah. Hey Tim, let me put you in. That is the one that you want to go to.
And that always lines when we have the hunting trip to Ohio. So that's just bad.
Capital City Carnage, it's right around the corner. Limited weld class, 10,000 to win. It's a $2,500 Mad Dog Award there, 50 car limit. The 2-man extreme class, can you believe this? 10,000 to win for 2-man extreme. $2,500 Mad Dog on that one. Again, that's a 50 car limit. They've added this year the front wheel drive hobo stock and the weld street stocks. The weld street stocks, the divisions continue to evolve. We've always talked about this, and now we've got the weld street stocks, which isn't limited weld. It's not stock. It's not chain and go. It's been popular. I mean, a lot of cars have turned out for that. Weld compacts and modifieds in the car as well. 25 car limit for each of those. 2,500 to win, paying the top four. March 6th and 7th is the Derby. We're going to have heat draws, etc. on the 5th online, capitalcitycarnage.com if you want additional details on that one. Tim Clark joining us on the line to talk a little bit about this. Tim, man, how are you?
All right. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while. We've got the schedule and everything, the driver's list and everything was released a couple days ago for all the standalone classes. It looks like that is going to be absolutely stellar. I'm hoping that everything is going smooth on your end in terms of the logistics, setting the Derby up and everything like that. We've only got 18 more days.
Yeah, actually everything is going good. I think we're all in good shape. We've done this Capital Carnage for a while now, so I think it falls into place pretty good.
Tell me a little bit more about what it takes to not so much put the show together, but in terms of making sure that you're coming back year after year. I understand that there's contracts and stuff involved, and you're going to be there for X amount of time and things like that. But as you guys change what the offerings are and things like that, does the facility get involved in those conversations? They set limits on how long you can be there. What's it take to actually put this show on the backside of everything?
No, the Expo Center is really good with me. I mean, I have it for them whole days. So, I mean, whatever I want to do, what I think I can get in that time frame, I can do whatever I want.
Did they set any limits on how many cars could be on the track at one time, or even does the fire marshal get involved with that and say, "Hey, emissions
not
rules"?
Really. I mean, the track is small enough. I mean, we've tried not to really slam the track with a bunch of cars, but I mean, I think the track's pretty decent for what we put out there.
How many phone calls do you get from indoor promoters asking for advice on track surfaces?
I mean, no. I mean, dirt is very hard to deal with. I mean, no matter where you're at. So,
Right.
I mean, the only thing I could say with it to anybody is get somebody that knows dirt. You know, it's dirt is a very, big part of this indoor derby stuff, and it's stressful. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, it's been a factor there a bunch of times, and we've seen other facilities now struggle with it, and other facilities that have struggled with it have solved it, which is always good. But the indoor derby, you're a victim of what you get, and you got to have somebody, as Tim said in a simplistic way, that you got to have somebody that knows dirt. And we're talking about clay content and water retention. Has the dirt been laid out to dry ahead of time before it's packed in? When we were at Motorama down in Harrisburg this weekend for the RC races, we had a track that was built. The dirt was supposed to be there Wednesday. I got there Thursday at noon. It was dropped off in bucket loads, and the track started to take form about 5 o'clock, and it was wrapped up by about 11 o'clock. And it was a scale 3/10 mile, so the run line was about 165, 170 feet. But the track never had a chance to dry, and it had a lot of rocks in it. So as we were trying to pack it and things like that, I'm thinking back to the times that we were at Capital City Carnage, and they're throwing Portland and stuff in it, trying to get the track to tighten up as much as possible. This was the opposite. It was so wet, it stayed heavy, and it was marbling up on the top, but it wouldn't dry. And even after all those laps were run on it, by Sunday when we pulled the thing apart, it still had, it was 18 inches, 20 inches deep, and the bottom 17 inches was still just as wet and heavy. Like, you couldn't do anything with it. You couldn't even break it apart with a shovel. So I mean, those challenges. You got to say it quite simply. You got to have somebody that knows dirt. And had we been able to spread it out, I'm sure it would have dried fine. And Alfie did an outstanding job juggling what he had. But it almost had a spongy effect. And as it pushed down, it had rocks and stuff coming up to the surface. It was some challenging stuff, but we got through it. So I had Tim ready. I was going to call him for advice, but we got through it.
Get some good old lick.
Yeah, I mean, they say bring dirt inside of a building. I mean, if you don't have much, you don't want no more than like 14% of water in it.
Right.
The pack and all that stuff. So, but it's stressful. I mean, but out there in Topeka, we have really good dirt guys out there. So we've been really good with the track out that way.
When are you heading out there?
We're headed out probably that Tuesday morning. I'll head out that way probably the 2nd, So I think that's Tuesday. I think it's the 2nd.
World Compacts have quite the lineup. We're going to see Kevin Ullman. Justin Leonard's going to be out there. A couple other names jumping off the list. Jared Fisher, Ralph Legis, Nate Middendorf. He's the defending winner. Other Compacts out there with the World Compacts. Ken Duff, Andy Oxa. Josh Wood, TJ Irvin, Mike Koch. It's going to be a Blizzard Bash team feature out there for the one-and-done compacts, and man, those guys are going to be going after it. They always are.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the classes out there is really packed of some really great drivers and some drivers that will really actually go out there hit pretty decent. So I think it's going to be a really fast-paced show. Mm-hmm. So I think everybody will like it, that's for sure.
I think that's what we want. Adding those two classes, tell me about the front-wheel drive hobo stock. That's basically the equivalent of the V8 chain and go, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much it's really kind of mid stock for out that way, and it's been growing great. And I mean, it filled up within 20 minutes, I think, on the internet. So I think everybody's liking that class, and I can see that thing going pretty high up there.
Handful of drivers, just to mention them. Logan Anderson going to be in that one. Jordan Tobin going to be running as well. We see Tim Leach, John Schultz on the entry list for it. Also, there was a couple other ones. Jason Calhoun going to be out there, as well as Kevin Ullman. So Kevin Ullman doing double duty. And then adding the street stock weld class, what goes into building one of those? It's this weird kind of niche market there. It's not a limited weld, so it's not an intense car. I mean, limited weld based on the standards out here, not Midwest limited weld. That's a completely different animal unto itself. But it's a little bit more than you see in like the street stocks or the chain and go that we see when you guys do Bash for Cash.
Yeah, it's more of a it's what area? I would say that's more of a in our area a motor swap class where you can change the motor, weld the doors shut, put a little cage in it, and that's about it, and you go out and run. So, but everywhere you have demolition derbies, they always have a different wording for the class that it's in. But I mean, that's like a beginner kind of thing where a lot of the newer guys don't like to put as much time in it, I think. So it's actually going to be really good. You
ever come across that in your travels? Maybe going different places, different words mean different things?
Absolutely. I mean, I hear it all the time, and that's even with the builder. I mean, you can say one thing in one area, and they don't even know what you're talking about. So,
you want to expand on any of that with especially with trucks when you talk about the different things that you've seen?
I've probably seen just about everything there is to see. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, I never went to the Blizzard Bash. I heard those trucks out there were like insane, and that's coming from guys that run out there too. So, but as far as back here on the East Coast, man, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff.
But I mean, have you ever gone to some place and show up for a derby, Dan, where it's going to be a light build trucks and everything is just welded solid, or and it's just a matter of where you stayed, where you stand as to how dumb you sound when you talk about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like if you go to a show for the first time, at least for me, like I go built right straight to the rules because I don't want to, like if it's 4 hours from home or 5 hours from home, I don't want to get turned away and have to go back. You know what I mean? So you always try to build to the rules. Then when you get there and you say, oh man, that guy had that and that guy had that, man, I knew I should have did more. Right. That's usually how it goes. So a lot of guys go watch a show the first year too. They'll go watch a show and then they'll build for it. But if you're not going out there to win, which I never really was, it doesn't really matter. Just go out, build to the best, or build however you want to build, and go have a good time.
Brandon Thomas going to be out there for the street stock weld class. We've talked with him a couple times this year. Travis Schmidt going to be a fun one to watch as well. John Muse signing up for the street stock weld class, which is sort of in his wheelhouse for what he likes to do. Jeremy Baker, Derek Kleinden, Dustin Sargent, Justin Walker. There's going to be some really, really standout participants in that one. And then we're coming around to the Modifieds. The Modifieds are always an outstanding show out there, and this one is absolutely stacked. Matt Schilling, Jared Van Gameren, Jason Dials leading the way. CJ Barnes and Kyle Puddlewitter, both of them going to be on track for that one. TJ Falkenberry, Justin Montgomery. We've seen him have a lot of success in the spring show. Chad Markley, Ryan McCracken, Craig McCracken. I think it was Ryan that picked up a win a couple years ago in the mod class. Jerry Lyerly, we've seen him run with the Crazy Iowans. They picked him up a couple years ago, and he really carried the torch for those guys when they're in that qualifying final with Brad Tice and Matt Tice a couple years ago. Blizzard Bash. Cheese is going to be out there as well. It's going to be outstanding, and that is the support divisions. That's the supplemental part of the show. You know what I mean? And it's going to be one awesome feature. In terms of the clipping a little bit. Sorry about that. The two-man extreme class. I mean, obviously it gained a lot of momentum in rapid fashion, and here we are looking at a two-man extreme class now, paying $10,000 to win, $2,500 Mad Dog. The point of this class was something for fun, and as Josh always joked about, it was a throwaway class. Basically, it was where all the Mopars got run if you're in the Midwest, because it didn't matter anymore. But I got to believe that kind of money, you're going to be seeing some really, really nice cars with two drivers pulling out on the track, Tim.
I really, truly believe, you're going to have to see some good cars, you're going to see some good drivers, but you're still going to see that guy that likes to go out there and head too in that class. I think that was actually stole my heart out there in Capital Carnage, that two-man extreme. It seems like they always go out there and put a hell of a show on, that's for sure.
Those cars are built lighter than what the main class is, right? Limited
yeah,
world rules.
a lot lighter, a lot lighter than that class.
I can't get my head around the idea, Dan, that we could potentially go out there to Capital City Carnage and, with as much money as on the line, see a two-man extreme wagon.
It just blows my mind for being in a sport for 25 years. Like, when I first started, there wasn't 15 classes. It was like you either drove a big car or you drove a small car.
Right.
And that was it. You pick your poison. Now, you got classes for everything, man, and stuff you don't even think about. It has evolved so much.
Right.
And that's what blows my mind, man. You want to take a bone stock compact, go take that. Or if you want to take a modified V8, two-man extreme car, trucks, limited weld, mild, there's something for everyone.
I think. Go ahead, Tim.
I think that's how these big shows actually grow. You get classes out there for something for everybody to come and be a part of it, and that's how the bigger classes, these bigger shows, I think, will survive with classes for everybody.
And it almost seems like the big shows that we've seen now the last several years, especially in the Midwest, the way that that's structured, because the cars are built so hard for some of these national shows, that's feeding the county fairs. The county fairs are seeing fall off in terms of their car counts, just like every place is. But we've heard from a number of Midwest counties, or at least fair boards, that have brought Demolition Derby back, and they come back with the full mod cars, and you might only get 7 or 8 cars, maybe 10. Some of them creep up to a dozen, but the fairs are able to use the mod cars as the main attraction, and they support it with some sort of chain and go 80s and newer compact stuff, and in an area where it used to be predominantly old iron. With the compacts at least gaining some traction, we've seen fairs been able to sustain. So by having these standalone shows that bookend the season, that basically pick up in September and go until April, that's giving you the reusable car field that some of these county fairs are surviving off of. We've seen this renaissance of Demolition Derby. We've talked about it because the epitaph was being written back in 04 and 05, and things were dropping off fast everywhere. But it's as these big money shows on the perimeters of the typical fair season continue to thrive, it's injected some new life into the county fair level. And actually, Tim, have you seen that in Ohio with the 52 schedules that Smash It does? Has that changed anything at all? You see the Smash It class on the schedule.
Actually, you're totally right on. And we got county fairs that do nothing but mods, and it actually works. And we got county fairs do nothing but the windshield class. It works. So I like you just said, I think I do like 45 county fairs in Ohio, and you see all the different classes, and you actually have to have them because one guy can't build the same car for every derby. Right.
Tim and Smash It does 45 county fairs in Ohio, and there's only 39 counties in Ohio.
We were in the Bash. We went to the old Bash that one year. Remember that?
I do.
No, there's 88 counties.
Tim was all over it. Because you know why he knows that number? He needs to know what fairs he has to pick up.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a lot, man. Yeah, for sure.
And you went to the that was one of the first years of the 70s wire class, right?
Yeah, I think it was the second year of that.
Might have
I can't remember, but yeah, we rolled in there, and that was a rude awakening.
Whatever come of that wagon? Did you sell it?
What did I do with that wagon?
Do you
remember what I did with that wagon? I think I just brought it home and junked it because it was junk after the caddies got done with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't look like
you don't take a Mopar wagon to a show like that. The only reason I took that car is because someone right next to me wanted me to build that car. So I went down there knowing I was going to get my butt handed to me.
It didn't look that bad. What happened?
Oh, it was bad.
Ugly in the back?
Oh, it folded, blew the humps. You couldn't do anything to the humps.
Oh.
That's the number one thing you want to do on a wagon. Sure. You chain the humps. You couldn't even
Especially a Cadillac, a Chrysler wagon.
Yeah. It was a 70, or was it it was a 71 Town and Country.
Yeah.
But we had fun. I mean, you just go for the experience,
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good time.
Didn't even get to run long enough so that you go hit your friends.
No, I think I made like 3 shots, and then the caddy started pillar parking in me, man, and that was it.
The party was over.
You can't beat a caddy, man, under factory stock setup. These cars are hard, man.
They were throwaways 15 years ago.
They were.
Exactly. You wouldn't even catch somebody in one.
Nope.
Now everybody wants them.
Kind of excited that one of your Bash for Cash guys did well down in Florida.
Yes, absolutely. That Florida was pretty decent. It was actually a good look watching show on the TV, and so them high guys, different guys, they'll do pretty decent out there.
How long before the fresh Sedagon becomes a regular thing? There's a bunch of Sedagons that we saw down there that were running essentially fresh. They had the Crown Vic front clips on them. They were really, really unique, some exotic builds down there. And they were legal with what was offered. Is that something that's forthcoming in the rule book for Blizzard Bash or potentially 2021 Capital City Carnage?
I would say, not fresh-wise. I mean, Blizzard Bash, we're working on the rules now, so, it's always a stressful thing.
Well, I can only imagine how rough life gets when you're trying to put the rule book together. You see all the builders that, quote unquote, they like to play in the gray. I mean, that's the difference of when you're traveling out there, you're going to the rules, but if it's close to home, you're above where you're supposed to be.
You're always looking at something, man. If you're not building, I mean,
yeah, the promoter's always trying to get the gray area out of it, and the derby driver's trying to get the gray area in it. So,
and most of the promoters were derby drivers at one time that were pushing the rules more than they,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it always seems that the criminals are always ahead of
always.
Or they sure try to be. That's for sure.
I got some stories about Gully back in his day. I can tell you right now.
Oh boy, I don't know if that's a good idea.
We'll keep him right here.
let's let him tell those stories. Both of the headline classes are full, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's full pretty much out there. Even with all the shows that I'm putting on, like Bash for Cash, it's even getting pretty decent on being full.
Wow, that's outstanding. Jump online if you want more information about it. CapitalCityCarnage.com. You jump on there. We're going to be at the Stormont Vale Event Center. Tickets sold at the door. You can look them up online and find more about purchasing tickets online. Looking forward to getting out there, and we're going to do the heat draws on Thursday night with a pit party show, and then move right into the action Friday night, and then Saturday, crowning every champion in the headline 2 divisions Saturday evening. That way everybody can get home on Sunday. Always an awesome show. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be streamed live on DerbyNation.tv if you can't make the trip, but there is no replacement for the atmosphere. Sitting inside that with the double bowls full, right down on top of all the cars, you're not going to want to miss it.
There's no doubt about that. And, sitting inside an indoor building and watching the Derby is great. That's for sure.
You don't have to worry about rain, snow, weather.
Oh, man.
Running water is available. It's always a bonus.
I always wanted to run in an indoor arena. Never did. Oh, that was one of the bucket list things to do, but I never did get to it.
Well, next year when you decide you want to get back in.
No, because then I'd have to buy it all back, and I'm not spending all that money to buy it all back.
Front-wheel drive hobo class. Easy enough.
There was talk about someplace in PA they were trying to do it last year, a couple of years ago. Remember there?
There's been a lot of talk around here. A couple places that usually get the most attention are the State Fairgrounds.
Oh.
The Odd in Utica.
Yep.
That place can handle it. The Dome in Syracuse can handle it easily, but there's no way that you're ever going to rent that place out.
Huge money.
For a demolition derby, you're never going to do it.
What about the Odd? What about the Utica Odd?
I don't know, 1, if they want to, 2, if it's affordable, 3, if the ventilation can handle it.
They have monster trucks in there.
Right, but they have monster trucks inside Blue Cross Arena, and they have one mound of dirt and 3 crushed cars, and they go over one, and they turn around and they go the other. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
It's not Monster Jam like they have
right.
on the floor in
Like in
Minneapolis.
Syracuse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Syracuse is so much bigger. So could they have a derby there? By definition, sure, but the other problem is making sure that you have enough space to pit the cars inside, because if you're going to do it outside of the typical derby season, so you're not fighting against the allure of your local county fair, because people aren't going to skip their county fair. They're not going to skip the chance to be their hometown hero.
No,
they're not.
no, you
There's
always
no
find
amount
a
of
way.
money.
Wanna run
It's
from
not
it.
going to do. It's not going to happen. So you got to find a way to try to pit those cars inside as well. You're not going to get the Sabres Arena. I think it's HSBC Arena now, or KeyBank Center. They're not going to go for it, because the NHL season is going to take dominance over that and all the different hockey tournaments that go in there. The only other one that I think might have the space and the opportunity to do it is the Farm Show Center down in Harrisburg. I think
That's what they were talking about. Yep.
that's the place that could do it. If it's 1 million square feet situated on 20 acres, you could put everything inside. There's enough space to do it. There's seating to do it. The ventilation can handle it. But the equine show arena, the dirt there can't go in, or it can't be taken out, and it can't go anyplace else because of the way that it's been treated and everything. So you'd have to run on the dirt that kind of it packs pretty well, but I don't know if it'll sustain the heavy weight of a car.
All that power, and you tear it right up, probably sink right in.
Right, and that's not good.
Makes
You don't
for a
want
terrible
that.
Show.
It will.
That's the first thing people, man. If you watch any of those, live streams or whatnot, that's the first thing they start complaining about once they start losing traction and the track goes downhill. It's like, this is,
Yes, I do.
It's the first.
I do know.
You do.
Yes,
You guys
do.
all know.
Tim, are you familiar?
I totally know what you're talking about.
It's just like people got to find something to complain about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's what they do.
Demolition Derby does cannibalize itself.
Oh man,
It does. But I
instead of
think
just enjoying it.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for anybody that's messing with the track, because it ain't like we're planning on it to do that. So,
well, I've never come across a promoter who says, you know what? When I got up this morning, I brought all these people
Right.
here, and I decided that I want to make a garbage track for them to run on, just so that I ruin it for everyone, and that way we can, come on, nobody's doing that, but
no,
can't we all
I'd
just
rather
do
if I'd rather scrape the dirt out and run on concrete.
I was going to say,
Yes.
blacktop or concrete.
put some cola
Yeah.
syrup down if you really want to make it interesting.
Right. Put some soap down, and there you go. See ya.
Right on.
But I don't know. It seems like we have a pretty good track. I mean,
Yes.
knock on wood. I mean, I can't say anything bad about our track, so I'm happy.
Well, that's dedicated clay now, right? That doesn't go anyplace else or get used for anything but Blizzard Bash and Capital
We
City
actually
Carnage.
they bring some in also. We use some of the old stuff for the bottom of it, but they also bring truckloads in on top of it too. So, and the walls is the older stuff, but a lot of the floor is the new stuff that's
Gotcha.
came in from another hole.
Cool. Well, we look forward to getting out there. We're going to be checking in with a bunch of Capital City Carnage drivers over the next couple episodes as we get ready to make the trip down there, and we'll see what they have to say and what they think about. We'll probably try and get a couple of our two-man Extreme Class drivers, because two-man Extreme Class has never seen that kind of money. $10,000 to win out there at Capital City Carnage. Tim, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
We'll talk to you
See
later.
you soon. Bye.
See you now. So with all the engines and stuff that have let go and all the transmissions that have come apart, there's enough of that clay now that's had that oil mixed into it that's, I think, what they should be using for the base, because oil clay tracks are insane.
Yeah, that's what I do for a living in a sense. Build bridges, and I'm always grading roads, put blacktop back on it when the job's all done and whatnot. But you can't beat good old hard pan, man. I mean, that stuff is hard, and I mean, that won't give way on you. Sometimes these guys overthink it. You can't bring in wet material, dude. You just
No, you can't.
and it can't be sand. I mean, there's
Nope.
common sense go a long
I've heard
way.
some of the best clay out there to run a derby on is baseball sand. Hey, Ed, let me put you in.
Yeah.
Give me about 30 seconds if you would, buddy.
Yep. So,
I'm literally turning on my street.
all right, hang on. Ed's almost home, so that's cool. So just hold tight. Let me know when you get situated. But some of the best clay to run on is the combination that they use for Major League Baseball clay.
Exactly.
Do
Do you know what they used over in Bolton last year to build that track? Because I heard that was nasty, sick, hard, fast. It was awesome. I heard nothing but great things from that. It looked it looked like, to me, like pond clay. You know, like where you'd build...
You used it to seal the
the
bottom
blue,
of the pond,
the blue clay that you seal a pond with. That's what it looked like, but it wasn't, I don't believe. I don't know if they put liquid calcium on it or what, because you can put liquid calcium on, say you put Crusher Run down, you can put calcium on that, and that will be hard as a rock.
Right.
It just hardens.
Calcium, they used to put that on dirt tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing.
Golden Isles down in Brunswick, Georgia. Tim McCready just won a feature down there a couple weeks ago. In one of its iterations, it was a giant track. I think it was like 5/8 of a mile, and it was like an oil clay where they put that on. And the late models would carry both front tires off the second turn. They would just be wide open. The super lates were insane there. They've shortened it now and they've redone it. I don't know if it's the same surface anymore or not, but it was exceptionally fast.
Yeah,
when they were out there for those.
You can't beat the clay, for sure.
Did you ever run Walton?
I did last year.
Oh, that was on that track. I didn't realize that.
I knew that, like I said before, I knew that it was going to be my last season, so I got a hold of Brett Relier through Facebook. I'm like, hey, man, you got a car I can rent? You got a Chrysler? He's like, yep, I got one sitting here with your name on it. So I went down, I rented it. This thing was a death trap. Not picking on Brett, but totally different than anything I would build. You know what I mean? Like, everybody builds different. I brought that car. I don't remember what I did. That show was on a Friday, yes. So I took that Friday off. I went down and I picked the car up Friday morning. Came back, I did a few odds and ends to it. I rolled in there and I went out there and I had an awesome time. Always wanted to run that track before I hung it up.
Right.
And I went out there, man. That track,
like a drag strip,
dude. Both sides, just like that's one of the most fun tracks to go watch a derby at or run at. And I ran and I think I got down to like 5th or something like that. But I had a blast, bone stock thing, and just went out there with zero cares. And
that's. You're talking about it's hard and it's fast and everything like that. That's one of my concerns when we talk about the tracks at some of these big shows, the indoor shows, is when they have these lighter builds, we can get so much traction, especially the front-wheel drive stuff, because all the weight's over the front wheels, and they can get so much bite. You got to really police the driver's door stuff or let them double and triple skin it just to make sure that everybody's going to be safe. Because last thing, everybody's got to go to work on Monday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Been to work many a day sore.
Yeah.
Many a days. Then I broke a finger midway through last season, too, so that would made it a little bit harder, too. But
that was the x-ray where the end was all busted over?
That was after Brookfield, and I just want to change a tire quick. It was Sunday night. It was late. I'd get up early for work the next morning. I just changed this tire off quick. Well, I went to pick it up, and I don't know what I did. I must have just lost my grip or something. It come down and it caught my tip right between the rim and the friggin' hub. Man, I turned right around and I said to the wife, we got to go to the hospital. I was like, oh, man. And then I had like the show the next Saturday and a Saturday and a Saturday, just compounding on it and trying to get things done. It was just hard.
It's hard to change a tire when your hand only works like this.
You watch some of my videos, man. I'm always just like real easy, keeping that finger away from anything.
Ed Brewster joining us on the line to kind of recap. I'm glad to hear that you're pulling in the driveway. Hopefully your travel home was smooth.
Man, yeah, it was a long ride, Chris, but literally when you hit me up, I was just hitting my street and just walked in the door.
So tell us about Motorama. How smooth did everything go? I heard the track was perfect and everything got pretty tore up. Some of the cars that I was looking at that was in the spine over there in Harrisburg, they were pretty wasted.
Definitely. Probably, I would say, the smoothest Motorama that we've ever had there. And that was basically due to the people around me helping me send a chapter and the new chapter 777.
So tell me, you got your memory booted up and ready to recall who won, or are we gonna wait for the post?
I'm sorry, I missed that, Chris.
Is your memory booted up enough, or have you browned out from your drive? You gonna be able to remember who won?
Memory's still cranking, I guess, and I'm still.
Who won what?
Shaking from the drive. It's like I come all that way, and then as soon as you get to your neighborhood, they want to try to kill you to get here. Chris, I probably can break a few facts out here in just 1 second. Pull them right up my backpack here. But it was definitely a great run at Motorama. We didn't have quite the entries we were hoping for, but we definitely pulled off the show we were hoping for.
That's perfect. You guys had a little bit more space to work with over there. The track was more centered in one of the overhead doors, which allowed a whole lot more foot traffic. Ian
Yeah, definitely. That helped a whole lot, Chris. Usually that big door is shut, and all that traffic's trying to filter through one single door there. And they saw what kind of spectatorship we were getting, so Brad sent someone down there and raised the door up for us.
We got the winners list there. At one point, Ed said that he was in the middle of the track and looked up, and they were standing like 6 deep on the catwalk over the track. The grandstand sections on both sides were full, and they were the small grandstands that are adjacent to the track were full. And then they had these, the galvanized crowd gates, and they were standing 3 and 4 deep there. And it didn't really register to him how busy it was until he took a second to look around, and it looked kind of thin. And then the Derby was going. He was officiating. He looked up, and it was just stacked. All these eyes on him. That's awesome. All the phones out and stuff. It was really cool. And
it was definitely some of the biggest spectatorship we've ever had at Motorama. That was unbelievable to look up there and see all those people.
Mm-hmm. You got your winners list there?
Yes, I found my glasses. Here we go. I'll tell you what, first one I grabbed come out to be the truck class. Bobby Edwards pulled it off with the first place.
Nice.
Brandon Rumsey second, and Nate White, I don't know how he did it, but he pulled off a third there. I didn't think he was going to last long. He sure pulled it off somehow.
It was probably because he finally charged his battery and drove like he usually does in training mode.
Let's see, next one, Outlaw class. Ryan Davenport. Man, that guy ran this weekend. I mean to tell you, him and Jeremy Cady both. Ryan took the Outlaw class. Jeremy Cady was second in that, and Ashton Law third. All New York guys there. And all the matches, the truck class was extremely great match. The Outlaw was very good. And let's get over here to the National now. Jason Daletto Jr. at the 777's chapter pulled off the win. Ryan Davenport again on the list here, second place. Ryan also pulled the Mad Dog.
Nice.
And Chrissy Warnick from the Syndicate chapter, which was the host chapter there, she got the third.
Sweet. And then you guys debuted the throwback class now, right? That's more stock build, no cage?
Yeah. That one I can't, man, I'm going to have a double of a time finding the list on that one. That was definitely fun. We ended up with only 3 cars there. We were hoping for at least 5. But it was just like again, rolling back to 2013, the sound of those kind of empty shells clacking, and you could see it just flex when it hit one another.
Right.
And I think it's going to be something that's going to be pretty good this year, and just really looking forward to that class for sure.
And you had some more promoters contact you about coming to shows in a little bit closer to home.
That is definitely something I wanted to bring up. We finally cracked into Maryland, Chris.
Right.
And I'm trying to think of the guy's name now. You call him the Undertaker.
Yep. McCulloch.
That's him. Yes, sir. They've definitely solidly booked us up there for Halloween show.
Awesome.
It's going to be very cool to do, I'm sure. And that's just something that I've been wanting to get into Maryland, man. It's definitely going to be a good location in Maryland for other states to come join us there and have some fun.
Awesome. Well, hopefully Daniel Roberts can make the trip out there. We miss seeing him over there at Motorama this year.
Daniel, a few days ahead of Motorama, had been in a car accident. Fortunately, they're all okay, but it just messed his plans up. And it was a shame because him and James were defending champions from last year.
Right.
So, anyway, Daniel says he's going to make it up and get to a couple of more that he doesn't usually go to. I'm hoping he'll make Speed World.
Awesome. That'd be cool to see him up there.
It will that. The points, people are ecstatic about the points championship going down. Smash It Derby on sponsoring that with us.
Right on.
And I think that's definitely going to keep a lot of people coming to the shows. And it's just something brand new for us here, and it seems to be working well so far.
That's awesome to hear. I'm glad everything's going well. Jump online, jmwmotorsports.net, JMW Motorsports. I think you got the .com still going as well. It all directs to the same place. If you when in doubt, look up Ed Brewster on Facebook. You can find everything you need to know just by following the links that he's got on his page. I'm glad everything went well for you, man. I know you put a lot of effort into this one, and next year is probably going to be. You guys have already got the to-do list for 2021.
The to-do list for 2021 to outdo 20, man.
Right.
And I tell you what, the way 20 is going right now, it's going to take something to outdo it.
Right on.
We're still actually I'll be talking with Jack Fisler here this week. We're going to see if we can put together doing Spring Explosion and Metal Mayhem.
I know, wouldn't it be awesome? I hope you guys can come together on a deal. That would be great.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll definitely keep people updated on that. And Chris, I'll message you as soon as I know.
Yep. And you said you got a couple things you want to talk about with the rule stuff too. So we'll be in touch.
Sounds good, man.
I'm glad you made it home. Go get some rest.
Got to.
We'll see you later.
You had a long weekend as well.
Yes, I'm sick and I am very tired. And I'm a little bit closer to being at zeros in my bank account now that I got to take care of this crossing the line ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well. That's part of the game, man.
It's just money. They print more every day.
Yeah, that's right.
I just got to stop giving it away. Ed, I'll talk to you later on, man. We'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Have a good one, buddy.
Bye now. Ed had a great time down there. He had a aluminum starter stand at his racetrack down there at JMW Motorsports. It's in the shadow of Southside Speedway. And he took it apart and he sold it to Motorama. Motorama owns it, but he's got to transport it back and forth once a year from Midlothian out of storage. So this stand, which was it was the length of the front stretch with stairs and everything, and it was elevated up. It was a gorgeous stand, but we had to take it apart and put it on the 6-foot trailer, and it was like putting together a jigsaw puzzle.
How much does it cost to build one of those things, anyways, dude?
What, an aluminum starter stand or the derby car?
The derby car.
The derby car's not that bad. I mean, you could be into it. You could be into a top line derby car for $600.
They really that much?
$600 to $700.
I always wondered how much
you could do.
Because he has different classes for those.
Oh yeah, there's probably 5 or 6 classes. There's the milk trucks that looks like a UPS truck, the truck class, the stock class,
right,
the national class, and then he's rolling out this throwback class, which is like what they did back when they started. It was just, there was no cages or anything in it, so the cars got annihilated, and then you pull it out and patch it up and run it again.
Right.
They used to make their patches out of duct tape, just because the tape was, because it didn't matter then. You know?
Yeah.
Do you remember the duct tape car from the Superstock show? It was at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania, and it was that Superstock Nationals that Bo Lockwood put on.
Okay.
And in this car, they didn't have anything else to fix it. And they basically just wrapped the whole back end in duct tape. The whole thing was wrapped up. It was wild. It did okay. I mean, it certainly wasn't metal, but it did its job.
I'd never seen one of those until I think it was the Bash. You ran a car at the Bash, didn't you? Didn't they have one of them?
I'm talking about a big car. Not an RC car.
Oh,
the dude wrapped the bunch of the pillars and stuff with tape trying to get the whole together.
From way back. We used to run a lot of duct tape around pillars and this and that to hide wells and whatnot.
It was already, they like used it to put the car back together.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was insane.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with duct tape for sure.
Yeah, Handyman's secret weapon. We were talking about the point series there for JMW with what they've got going. Couple updates from the Unified Point Series. The final night to order your pre-order for the shirts is tonight. Closes at midnight. So if you want to get your pre-order shirts in, put it there. A bunch of people have jumped on board. A couple big orders have come in, so they're cruising towards their goal of 537 527 ME527. Announcing that's where the number comes from. That's why. So online sales deadlines tonight. Every purchase enters you into a drawing for parts tomorrow night. So tomorrow night they're going to do a drawing for the parts if you purchase shirts. George Hinote with GH Graphics and Alar near Demo, Big Rock, and Black Flag Designs are all donated parts to the giveaway. to the apparel shoppers. They are all going to count as sponsors for the National Series with Mark Elliott's program. So there's that hanging out there. The website, 95% complete, so it's just about ready to go green on the website. They've been thrashing on that for the last several weeks, and
Nice.
they weren't nearly 95% done when we talked with Mark last week. So they've done a ton of work on that. Shannon Davis has been in charge of that one, and the centerfold article is available for purchase tonight through Demolition Derby Life magazine. So that update that Mark alluded to last week is now complete, and that's going to be in this month's edition of Demo Derby Life. That's Lexi Draws' magazine.
Yep.
That's out there. So that's cool. That's a quick update there. And then final note, I think it's the final note. We might have had more that I wanted to talk about, but we covered a lot of topics. Christy King is back home, and she is upright, which is good. She has her new bionic hip in place. I don't know if you've been following along with this, but
No.
she was in a derby and got hit, and it broke her hip, and she didn't know it. So she's had all this pain in her hip, and she didn't know why. They did an X-ray on something and discovered where it had been cracked. So the surgery went well. She's already upright and walking, and of course, as stubborn as she is, she didn't take any pain medicine, and she's toughing it out. And this past weekend, Devin was at a derby with a stock box-style Lincoln.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Those guys never stop.
They
up
do
there,
not
man.
stop. No, it was.
Christy's cool, man. She always
Yeah.
takes awesome pictures, and she's always been real nice at the track. You run into her, she's super nice. She's bought some stuff from me, and she's a good person.
Yeah. Did you
Like-
buy any trucks from you yet?
No, she has one of my sweatshirts, I think. But yeah, she's always doing. She takes some awesome pictures.
Yeah.
I mean,
She's very, very talented photographer.
she is.
And she was a photographer before she knew anything about Demolition Derby kind of thing. Photography was a big deal.
Cool.
Yep.
Nice.
She also works for an undertaker,
Yeah, I kind of put that two and two together.
and
That's
she
quite,
does. And she also does. Brian just said I sound like I don't feel well. I don't.
He's sick, Brian, and I'm going to catch it probably.
I am hoping that you bathe in hand sanitizer on your way home,
We'll
Dan.
be
So you
fine.
don't get. I don't want you to get
There's-
sick off this thing. With Daytona being rained out, and I didn't see the race on Sunday, with it being pushed to 4 o'clock and feeling pretty crummy, I was very. If you weren't coming up here, I was very close to
You're gonna
saying,
watch that race.
We're off all week. I'll see everybody Tuesday. But in any case,
Well, I figured if I didn't get up this time, I wasn't going to get up.
it wasn't going to be. It was going to be for a while.
Yeah, so and I wanted to come hang out and visit and see you. It's always a good time. And
And you found it okay.
oh yeah, brought my sidekick with me.
Right on,
She's someone to hang out with.
for sure.
Awesome.
What were we talking about?
Well, you were talking about a bunch of things: sickness and road trip and sidekicking. And Brian saying you were sick.
Something
Daytona.
something about Christy.
Oh, Christy about the Undertaker.
Oh, she also does tax prep
Oh, really?
in Canada on the side. So in life, nothing's a definite but death and taxes, and Christy can do all of it and make graphics to put on your casket.
Oh, dude, dude, I was this close. I had a car lined up to buy in Ontario. I can't remember where it was, but I was going to go across the border and buy this 2-door 75 Monaco. Cheap. $450. The thing
Wow.
was mint.
And that's Canadian or American?
I don't know, whatever it was.
You can show up with $450.
I was going to show up at $450. But the guy had it. This old guy had it, and I kept pressing him like, I want to come get this car. Like I did everything I had to do. I had to fill out paperwork to go over and get it, whatever. And finally, I get this call back from his daughter. She's like, you're very rude and blah blah blah. And my dad is on his deathbed. And I'm like, whoa! I didn't know anything was going to that extreme. They sold it to the neighbor on me, dude. They sold it right out from underneath me to the neighbor. So I never got
But
it.
think about all the time that you saved having to go to Canada, have to horse around the border, explain why you're bringing a car in. It was probably for the best.
It probably was.
was probably
Man,
for the
I had to
best.
have that car. That car was nice. It was a 2-door. It would have been a great stock car.
Right?
You know, it's cheap.
But now you could now the only thing you would do with the Toyota Monaco is make it a lowered hot rod.
I just would know I'd resell it and make money. I really start turning cars. I got a car in my yard that Mike Klinger bought off me. And if you're listening, Mike, I really wish you'd come get this car because it's been like 7 months. No, I told him I'd keep it till spring, but I sold him that one imp that I bought. I don't know if you saw it. It was a 64 2-door.
It was a black
silver.
one? Oh, silver one, okay.
Yep. Bought it right there towards the end of fall. And I sold it
Yeah,
to
I
him.
know the car now. Yep,
It sits there, and he's supposed to come get it sometime.
he will.
I posted it for sale, and literally, seconds. He's like, Munch is going to be sending you money, PayPal. I'm like, okay, here comes the money, PayPal for Munch.
Wow. That's cool.
So,
Well, good. I mean, I'm glad you're selling cars so fast, and maybe we'll see the trailer going up and down the road with cars just to flip them.
I was that close to selling the trailer, but the wife's like, you're not selling the trailer. I need that trailer. That trailer can make me some money. So
If you have a trailer, you have friends.
you do. That is the best meme I have ever seen. If you have a trailer, man, you got people crawling out of the woodwork to come borrow that thing, man.
Awesome. Well, man, I'm glad you came up to hang out with us for a little while. It was good to see you.
You
Good to
too,
see
buddy.
Brenna. I'm glad you didn't have any basketball this evening and you were able to get together.
Yeah,
That's
tell-
good.
You want to say anything? You're not going to say anything? Tell them how your basketball's been going this year.
Good.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Perfect.
That's it, huh?
And then softball's starting too, right?
She likes pitching.
Sweet.
Yeah, she's
Brenna, there's scholarships in pitching. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, maybe it won't cost mom and dad too much.
Dad'll be able to keep building his hot rods if you can get a scholarship.
Get you to come down and help me work on it.
What do you want me to do on it?
Oh, just sit there.
Stand around and watch?
You have old Chryslers.
I have one left.
You still have it.
I still have one. And the only reason that we have it is my wife will not let me sell it.
No, don't.
She didn't want me to sell the silver one. I had that 68 300. That didn't get sold to be a smasher either. That's as far as I know right now. That's still someplace in its existence. They took the roof off and patched up all the issues underneath the vinyl and put the window back in so that it wasn't going to leak around that perimeter. And I think they put rims on it too. But it's made some pictures that look pretty good out there. That went to Western New York and it's safe at home. And right now I need just a little bit of I need a break is what I need, basically. I need a break just to get the 66 on the road because it's been sitting in the side yard. And,
You got to get to it, Chris, because life will pass you by, buddy. It's passing us by.
my concern is that one of these days I'm going to go out there and the back bumper is going to be on the ground because the leaf's pushed up through the floor or something stupid.
They're notorious for that. But if it's not, I don't know. You just got to, I've seen the cleanest of cars in one place be junk in the next. It's just weird how certain cars just rot,
Yeah, well, I'd rather it doesn't rot, period.
No, you
know
don't
what I'm
want
saying?
that. That truck I bought, somebody must put a vinyl roof on it. I've never seen a vinyl on an old Dodge truck. Somebody must have put it on after they bought it.
Right.
That top of that roof needs a skin.
Yeah.
It just gets under there and it ruins it. But
This one doesn't have vinyl. Mine doesn't have vinyl.
But have you ever seen an old Dodge truck with vinyl on it?
Never.
I've never.
I
Don't
had
think I've
no
ever seen
idea.
a truck with vinyl on it.
No, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
But I didn't realize that truck. Like when you're in derby frame of mind, like the things that you'd want for like restoring, it doesn't matter. So like when I saw the truck and I got the pictures, like I thought everything was there. Door handles missing, armrests missing, all the internal.
And you've probably thrown all this stuff out in the past, right?
Oh man, it's all shot, dude. Like the whole inside of the door for the window going up, all the tracks and all that stuff, it's all garbage. But I found a guy that sells the stuff, so
Perfect.
this guy, as long as the stuff's out there, that's fine. That's all I care, because then I can get it and fix it up. But you just don't take into consideration when you're building something for derby. None of that stuff matters.
Right. It's all
All them
going in the garbage
trinkets.
pile. Yep.
So
Well, I think that's going to do it for us here at the North Park Building at Academy Square. This one is in the books. Dan, thanks again for coming up. We do appreciate you making some time to come and hang out with us for a little while. 309 is in the books. Everybody that's out there sick, fighting coronavirus or COVID-19 or flus or stomach bugs or everything, it's everywhere. Everybody enjoy the week off. If your kids are off, they're away from all the germs. Basically, the schools this time of year, with everything's going around, turned into Petri dishes. So I'm certainly looking forward to not being around some of the kids for a couple weeks. I dodged it. I was around it all along. I go to Pennsylvania and come back sick. But
crazy.
It's nobody's problem at home. 309 in the books. Thanks a lot. We'll be back again next week. Thanks for watching.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FL1 Studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.